Hi there. Of course, I had to wear my super official Capricorn shirt for our super official Capricorn full moon. This is quite an interesting full moon, and I think quite applicable for the type of society we live in, which I think loves the Capricorn energy. One small thing I wanted to share with you is that I've actually lowered the prices of my readings. Yes, I've lowered them, which almost never happens with anybody with any prices nowadays. I know that things are tough. They're tough for everybody. Sometimes financially things can also be tough for me. And I wanted that to reflect in my prices. I wanted my readings to be something that is much more approachable for other people. And I never want the price to be the thing that holds people back from booking a reading with me. So, all of that being said, I have 3 readings available. You can find the booking link in the description and in the comments. Feel free to check them out. And if the price has been a problem for you before, perhaps now it's a little bit more approachable. And don't forget, you can also win a free reading. If you hit subscribe, when we reach 2,000 subscribers, I will pick one subscriber to give a free reading to. So that's also one way that you can hopefully get a reading, benefit from astrology, and not have it affect your bank account too much. Now let's move on to this Capricorn full moon. It's happening on July 10th. And it's going to ask all of us to take a look at our relationship to this sort of hustle culture, our relationship to working hard, putting our head down, and working on our goals. This full moon might make you stop, lift your head up from all the working, and look around. And you might notice a couple of things. You might notice that you have achieved great things, and you might feel quite proud of that. You might notice that what you had wished 6 months ago or a year ago has now come to fruition and is actually real and tangible. You have it right in front of you. But at the same time, one of the pitfalls that this Capricorn energy can bring to us is that when we look up from all of this hard working, we realize that we've worked hard on achieving something that we don't actually care about. We've worked so hard on achieving that job or that relationship or that education or that friendship. But we realize that we're not actually that happy now that we have it. We realize that we got that promotion, we got that raise, but there's nobody around us to celebrate it with. So this Capricorn full moon will definitely bring up in different areas for different zodiac signs. It will bring up this feeling of, what are you working towards? And is it actually the right thing? And are you making sure to every once in a while stop putting your emotions aside, stop showing up every day, no matter how tired you are, no matter how much your body is screaming to you to stop it. And also allow yourself to feel those emotions and view them not as something that deters you from accomplishing your goals, but as something that helps you align to them so that you can achieve them even better, even sooner, or so that you can achieve something that you actually care about and something that actually matters to you. And one of the other lovely things around July 10th, when this full moon is happening, is that Mars and the South Node are very close to each other. They're not exactly conjunct, but they're close enough that we will feel their energy. And because Mars represents our drive and our ambition, combined with this Capricorn full moon, I think we might start realizing that some of our ambition and some of our drive is actually motivated by more deeper personal, I don't want to say issues, but deeper personal things that we need to work through still. Perhaps we come to realize that we're somebody that is so focused on achieving our goals because that was the only time when we achieved something. That was the time that our parents gave us love or attention. Or we might realize that the reason why we work so hard and never look at our emotions is because that's what our father or our mother modeled for us. And we see that as a form of love that we show for others. We see that as a healthy way of being because it's the only thing that's been modeled to us. Because of that South Node conjunction with Mars, there will be some deeper psychological feelings, some deeper psychological workings underneath our drive and ambition that we might need to look at during this full moon. Let's dive, though, into each of the 12 zodiac signs so you can know a little bit more specifically what area this might show up for you. And as always, the timestamps are listed, so you can also hop through to the one that is applicable for you. And I recommend to watch the rising sign as well as the sun sign. For Aries, this full moon is definitely associated with your career. So you might find that there are really great achievements coming across your way during this full moon. That you get that promotion, that you get that raise, that you get that new job that you worked so hard day and night, you practiced for those interviews. And you look up and you realize that maybe there's nobody there to celebrate it with you. Or you look up and you realize, okay, I'm not happy. You look up and you realize, I got that job, but do I actually want to go there in 2 weeks and actually do it? Do consider during this full moon to look at those emotions. Spend some alone time and really just listen to what's coming up. Sit with those emotions because they might teach you a lot. Don't see them as a detriment to helping you achieve your goals, but see them as this inner compass that is telling you, that is helping you navigate a little bit more correctly where you want to go, what the next steps are, and helping you make sure that when you do get there, you feel even more happy and even more aligned with what you have achieved. For Taurus, this is actually quite an interesting full moon for you because you might find that you have been doing everything that's been required of you when it comes to determining what you value and what you stand for. You have been reading all of the books that have been prescribed to you. You say you are a believer in animal rights, and you have been showing up to those animal rights protests in your city as if your life depended on it. Whether you were sick or tired or you had to skip your best friend's birthday party, you were there. You were attending the courses, the classes. You were, doing all of the right things that you thought were needed from you as somebody that stands for something, as somebody that believes in something. This full moon will ask of you, though, to not just focus on doing the things and carrying through with them, but to touch base with the emotions behind them. To touch base again on why it is that you care about the things that you care about. Why do you care about animal rights or women abortion rights or whatever it is. I think this full moon will help you realize that if our beliefs are not motivated by our emotions, they feel less fulfilling and less meaningful. And with this full moon, you might also realize that you need to be less dogmatic about how you're approaching your beliefs and your values. Become a little bit more loose with them and become somebody that carries them out, not just in action, but also through feeling and through love. You know, you're rushing through to that animal rights protest. You're running so late that you accidentally hit a pigeon on the way there. See that sort of dichotomy of, you're somebody that believes in animal rights, but you're so focused on that sort of right thing, the protest. But in those day-to-day actions where the feeling of how you interact with animals is not coming through. Again, I'm not saying that any of you are doing this, but it's one example. So therefore, imagine that maybe instead of looking down at that friend's birthday party and putting the protest up on this pedestal, maybe go to that friend's birthday party. You might realize that the interactions, the conversations you have there can teach you a lot more and connect you a lot more to this part of you that cares about animal rights or anything else in a way better way than that protest or that class or reading that book might help you. So bringing your feelings a little bit more into your beliefs and becoming less dogmatic, more open and more curious as to how you can actually put your beliefs and your values in action. For Gemini, this might be quite an emotional Capricorn full moon for you because it is taking place in more of the emotional houses, or more of the inner houses, I should say. And specifically, you might find that you have been following all of the exercises that your therapist has shared with you. You have been watching all of the YouTube videos about self-sabotaging habits. You have been crossing off all of the lists of, the lists that you have for taking better care of yourself and improving your mental health. However, this full moon will say, have you perhaps forgotten to feel your emotions, to feel your mental health, to feel the things that are coming up for you? And I feel like this full moon as well, Gemini, will say that sometimes just sitting with the emotion is already a great amount of work. You don't need to breathe through it. You don't need to journal about it. You don't need to talk to your therapist about it. Again, those are wonderful habits, but it's about the balance. So the Capricorn full moon might say, hey, maybe for tonight, let's just feel it. And let's see that as our great work. And one more thing this full moon might be asking from you, Gemini, is to perhaps open to somebody you trust about what you're going through, to see vulnerability and sharing these deeper parts of you as a part of that healing journey as well. Cancer, this Capricorn full moon feels a little bit weird because it's having this Capricorn energy, this energy of working hard and hustling in your relationship house. The way I interpret this full moon for you is that you might have been treating your relationship as if it is your number one responsibility, treating it as if it is your job, as if you need to pay your bills with it. You have been making sure you show up to that mandatory Thursday date night no matter how you feel. You've been making sure to text your partner or prepare them lunch every day no matter how you feel. And while again, that can be really commendable, this full moon will ask you to take a look at if you're off balance. Have you been forgetting to look at your own emotions? And have you not been voicing them? Have you not been showing up to your relationship with your true identity, with who you really are? Hiding yourself in order to maintain this perfect illusion of a relationship, to achieve some sort of perfection in your relationship. So with this full moon, consider that sharing your feelings with your partner and putting yourself first in the partnership can also help you achieve a beautiful, harmonious partnership. It doesn't have to deter away from it. Leo, this Capricorn full moon is actually quite interesting for you. I want you to ask yourself if perhaps you have been on top of your day-to-day routine insane. You have been checking all the things off. You know that habit that you wanted to do, like floss every day? You have been on a roll. You know that meditation, you wanted to start meditating every day? You have been killing it. You wanted to eat healthier, you wanted to exercise more. You have been killing it, Leo. The full moon will ask you, though, is there a bit of a disbalance there? Have you perhaps been approaching these routines and these responsibilities without any love, without any heart, without any deeper feeling as to why you're doing them? Have you been focused so much on, serving others, on showing up the best to your job, on making sure your house is clean, without connecting to that part of you that notices, why you're doing it? You clean your apartment because it's showing love to yourself. You show up as your best version at your work because you want to serve others and you want to help others. So this full moon for you, Leo, is really about connecting to the spiritual side of what it means to be a human. Not just ticking off the list, but can you tick off those lists while doing it with a deep appreciation of what it means to be human and how lucky we are to be here? Virgo, this Capricorn full moon feels a little bit counterintuitive because it's happening in one of the more playful, creative houses. And you might find that this full moon is showing you all of the ways in which you have been hustling with your creativity, hustling with your hobbies. You've been making sure, overloading your schedule with everything you want to do. You have been showing up to those pottery classes you signed up for, putting in extra time as if your life depended on it. If you've been picking up a new hobby, you've been focusing and researching on what are the right materials and where can I buy them from, and, this color or that color. And this full moon might ask you to get back in touch with the feeling side of it. Get back in touch with enjoying what you're working on, enjoying the hobbies, taking them a little bit more lightly, and just in general, bringing that feeling back into them. Try to approach your hobbies less seriously. Try to approach your self-expression less seriously. And maybe even just do some things that you're like, this is crazy, but this is fun. Like combine some really weird colors on paper that you're like, this definitely doesn't work, but who cares? It's just fun and it's not serious. Combine that crazy outfit and go outside wearing it because you're not taking yourself too seriously. At least not around this full moon. For Libra, around July 10th, you might find yourself dealing with some more serious family issues or some more serious home issues, things that perhaps require you to be quite adult, to be taking on some responsibility, maybe to put your head down and to really have to work, to show up, to perhaps do some things that don't feel very nice to do, adulting. And it might highlight to you that there's a disbalance there. that you might also need to disperse a few moments with your family where, you're talking about that difficult topic and you throw in a joke and you have a laugh. And maybe after that, you have a cry. Focus on also getting in touch with your family while you're going through this serious time, getting in touch with your own emotions and their emotions as well. And this could also be a deeply serious time for your inner work. Perhaps if you've been going to therapy, you've also been approaching this with this hustle mindset, putting your head down and working hard on it. So again, this full moon might remind you that sometimes just feeling our emotions instead of, going to another therapy sessions or doing another journaling prompt, sometimes that's all we need. Sometimes healing and addressing our upbringing, addressing things that we were brought up with can be much more about feeling it rather than doing something about it. Scorpio, I wonder for you if you have been in some powerful positions lately, positions where you maybe had to speak a lot, really be in a sort of influential, powerful position where you had to lead others with your words, maybe at your work or in your community, with your family, maybe with a group that you belong to or a community. And perhaps you've been really focused, taking this responsibility quite seriously and really focused on, I want to make sure I say the right things. I want to make sure I say things in the right intonation so that I motivate this group instead of, demotivate them. And while you've been taking that responsibility quite seriously, the Capricorn full moon might say, have you forgotten to bring your emotions into it? Have you focused so much on the right words and the right intonation and the right, whatever speed in the way you speak, that you've actually forgotten to speak from your emotions, to share what you're feeling? Don't underestimate during this full moon how much bringing your emotions into these speaking or teaching roles could help you in achieving your final goal, can help motivate the people that you're talking to, and can help you even achieve that final goal that you're working towards. Sagittarius, this full moon is all about your finances and specifically how you have been working hard and addressing your finances in a really serious manner. Perhaps you have been putting your emotions aside, really sort of focusing yourself on not spending money. That could be one example. And really focused on, no, I don't care if I want the coffee right now, or I don't care if I really want to go to that Taylor Swift concert. I am focused. I am disciplined. This is my financial goal. And of course, this can manifest in another way. Maybe you've been really focused on achieving some sort of financial security, hitting a specific savings goal or hitting a specific promotion at work, a specific pay raise. This full moon will say, okay, now you have a moment. Now you have achieved it. How do you feel? This full moon might make you realize that you have decoupled your emotions in this hunt for financial safety, and that you might be in a position now that feels a bit weird, a position that maybe doesn't make you as secure as you thought it would, in a position that maybe you thought this financial security would make you feel safe and worthy, but it's not true. And this full moon might ask you to really look at those emotions and to really address them at the root of it. What sort of self-worth and self-love emotions or problems are you trying to address by putting this sort of financial band-aid on them? I will feel safe when I have this amount in my bank account. I will feel worthy when I've reached this financial milestone. The full moon will say, let's look at the deeper issues. Let's look at our emotions and consider our emotions not as something that will deter us from that final financial goal, but something that could help us get there faster, better, and in a more aligned way. Capricorn, this is a full moon that might affect you quite a lot because it is happening in a very prominent house. It's happening in your sign as well, in the sign of Capricorn. So specifically in a lot of areas of your life or in general, you might be just asking yourself, how has me ignoring my emotions, putting them aside, impacted me and my life today? Have I achieved great things that others look at and they marvel at, but I look at and despise? Have I achieved great, powerful authority? Maybe I'm the boss at work. So many people look up to me. So many people report to me. But actually, at the same time, they also feel like I am unapproachable or I'm cruel and cold and I don't have an actual personal, real connection with them. How has this need for you to achieve, to push, to put all feelings aside in order to achieve those goals, how has it affected your relationships today? And how has it affected the way that people perceive you? You might look up and realize, damn, I've achieved that goal, but everybody around me hates me. I don't actually have friends. I'm alone. So it doesn't sound very fun. I'm sorry. But the full moon will ask to take a look at those emotions. I always believe with astrology that it's about balance. So do take a look at those emotions and really address what's coming up. And I would say during this full moon, it's also really about reconnecting with others, reconnecting with the relationships that matter for you, and maybe show them the emotions that you have. You probably don't do that a lot, Capricorn, but show that to them, and you might already find that it's helping you balance out all of this amazing achievement, successful energy that you have going on. Aquarius, I wonder if lately you have been super focused on your spiritual routine. Maybe you have set a certain goal for yourself, like every day, or I'm upping my meditation to 1 hour every day. And you probably have been quite consistent at it and probably quite successful at it. You've been able to achieve it quite well. And yeah, you've been able to reach sort of success around this sort of spiritual ambition that you've had. Maybe you've just attended one of those Vipassana 7-day silent meditation retreats and you've reached this pinnacle, I have reached the pinnacle of my spirituality. This full moon might ask you to reconnect with the why and the deeper emotions behind your spirituality. Why is it that you meditate? Why is it that spirituality is important to you? What does spirituality not mean to you? What does spirituality feel like to you? And I think this Capricorn full moon will especially ask you, Aquarius, to connect to the spirituality and the feeling of being a human in a body. The spirituality of feeling sunlight on your face. The spirituality of having delicious food in your mouth and getting lost in the taste. The spirituality of listening to good music and crying. The spirituality of being in the shower and feeling the wonderful sensations of water on your skin. So there's a new spiritual routine for you to try out during this full moon, Aquarius. And don't forget, get in touch with the deeper emotional why behind your spirituality. Pisces. This full moon might make you realize that you have been very focused on achieving all of your future goals. that you have perhaps forgotten to have some fun in the today. You've forgotten to have some immediate pleasures. You might look up around this full moon and realize that you did it. You crossed off that goal. You've achieved it. You've worked years, months for it, and now it's here. And you look up and you realize that maybe you're not happy, or you realize that you haven't actually had fun in forever. So with this full moon, don't underestimate the power of something really simple and fun. You know, something like playing a card game or a board game, taking yourself out for an ice cream, dancing to some good music in your living room. It doesn't need to be complicated, but just something that brings you to an immediate, fun self-expression, creativity. And with this full moon, you might also find that perhaps your friendships and your relationships are coming up. You might find that you have sort of achieved the perfect friendship, or you've finally connected to that one mentor that you were like, yes, I just need to get in contact with them and they will connect me to the perfect job or provide me the perfect opportunities for my career. And you might find yourself around this full moon that you've done it. You've achieved it. You've connected to that person. They've connected you and provided you amazing career opportunities. And then you realize, indeed, have I been, am I working on the right things? Does this connection feel genuine? Is this a genuine connection? Do I actually care about this person and what they think of me? Do I actually want to be connected to them? Do I value their advice and their opinion? Do look at your emotions that are coming up around this time when it comes to your friendships and your network. So that's the horoscope for this Capricorn full moon. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I hope it helped you as well. Let me know down in the comments if it resonated. Do remember to hit subscribe so that you can enter the free reading giveaway. I will give away one free reading when we reach 2,000 subscribers. Thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon.